Today we go through push-up form 101 so that you can finally learn how to do the perfect push-up and get all the awesome benefits that come along with it. So whether you just learning how to do a push-up or you've been doing them for years, this video is going to help you get better at the push-up. Now, the way we're going to break down the perfect push-up is into 3 steps. We're first going to talk about the setup, then we talk about the actual push-up movement, and then we talk about what to do after the push-up. Now let's get started. All right, so step 1 is setting yourself up for success. And there are 2 major things that you need to think about when you're resetting up for the push-up. The first thing is your hand placement. Where do you put your hands? Now the general rule of thumb is going to be that your hands should be placed slightly wider than shoulder width apart. The reason why we put our hands out a little bit wider than shoulder width is because it actually creates more space in here, and it allows us to get better leverage for the push-up. Now if you have a hard time doing push-ups, one thing you can do is actually bring your hands even closer together underneath your chest. This is going to make the push-up easier to do. But as you get stronger, I would recommend bringing your hands back to that shoulder width position or even a little bit wider. The next thing you want to pay attention to is the alignment of your body. When you're doing the push-up, you want to make sure that your body is in a straight line from head all the way to heels. So what I often like to do is actually put a broomstick across my hips and my head so that I can make sure I maintain that straight line. Now, a big mistake I see beginners do all the time is they stick their butt out too far, and this is really common. A lot of times people will stick their butt out because they want to keep that straight line. But what you really do and want to do is stick your butt out, because it actually puts your spine in a really bad position. Instead, what you want to do is you want to drive your belly button in towards your spine, almost like you're trying to zip up a jacket. You want to tuck everything in, and you want to squeeze the glutes. That's going to allow you to maintain that straight line without putting your spine in a bad position. So remember, hands slightly wider than shoulder width apart, drive the belly button in, squeeze the glutes, and tuck everything in. Alright, so now that you know how to set up for the push-up, let's go ahead and talk about the actual push-up movement. And the main thing you want to pay attention to here is your range of motion. How far down are you going? You going all the way down, or are you just coming down part of the way? Well, the answer to that question really depends on your goal with the exercise. If your goal is to build upper body strength, then you want to come down all the way until your chest is just about even with your elbows. Now, if you have a hard time doing that, it's okay to come down just part of the way. Maybe only come down until your shoulders are even with your elbows. That's totally fine. Just do whatever you can while maintaining good form. Now, if your goal with the push-up is not necessarily to build upper body strength, but maybe it's to burn some calories, or maybe it's to improve your overall endurance, then you're going to want to increase your range of motion. So instead of just coming down until your chest is even with your elbows, you're going to want to come all the way down until your chest is touching your stomach. So that's going to be the first thing you want to pay attention to is your range of motion. Do you want to go all the way down, or do you want to just go part of the way? The next thing you want to pay attention to is the speed of the push-up. Should you go fast or should you go slow? Well, once again, it depends on your goals. If your goal is to build upper body strength, you want to focus on going slower. Focus on controlling the eccentric portion of the movement and really focusing on your muscles and pushing through them. So that means that you going to go down slow, and you also going to press back up slow. So that's the third thing you want to pay attention to is your breathing. Inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. Now once you've gone through all those checkpoints and you've determined how you're going to set up for the push-up, how you're going to do the push-up, you've got a good idea of how to breathe during the push-up, the next thing to do is to practice. And the best way to practice is with good quality push-up. Now if you're someone who can't do a single push-up, that's okay. You might need to start with the wall push-up. So that S where you're going to place your hands on the wall and then you're going to do the same exact movement. Remember to drive that belly button in, squeeze those glutes, keep that nice straight line, and then perform the push-up. Now if you can do push-ups on the wall, the next progression is to do push-ups on an incline. So that could be on a chair or a countertop or really anything that's elevated. The first thing is to superset with another exercise. Supersetting simply means doing one exercise and then immediately following it up with another exercise with no break in between. So a great example of a push-up superset would be to do push-ups and then immediately follow them up with squats. So you do a bunch of push-ups, and then you do a bunch of squats, and then you take a minute break, and then you go again. You do more push-ups, and then you do more squats. You can keep repeating that cycle over and over.